Let's crochet a maxi dress while I talk about how I dropped out of uni to crochet. So, this all started back in 2022. So, I started my A levels in that year and I picked out A level maths, chemistry, and sociology. For GCSEs, I loved chemistry a lot and maths was okay. So, I was like, let me just do maths as well. But sociology was really, really fun. Actually, I did not like it at GCSE. That was mainly because of the teacher, but I liked the concepts behind it, so I decided to take it on as an A level, and I did not regret that. It's really, really fun. And this was also the year where I learned how to crochet. So I started crocheting because I randomly saw a video on YouTube of these crochet stuffed animals, and I was like, I have to learn how to make this. So I bought my hook, my yarn, and I just started watching a bunch of tutorials. And one thing about me is that I love to learn like really fast. When it comes to a creative topic, a creative hobby, I tend to learn very quickly anyway. So I didn't even watch the beginner tutorials of how to crochet whatsoever. I mainly just watched project videos. So I'll just follow along and make something from there. So I started bringing these things into school as well. So I started bringing in my yarn and my hooks, and I would crochet during some of my lessons, mainly sociology though, because it was more of a discussion based subject. So I didn't really need to take notes. When it comes to those types of subjects, I just remember because the concepts come quite easily. It's really easy to understand a lot of these sociological concepts. So I would just crochet in the lesson, very discreetly though. I think the teacher would want me to pay attention. But yeah, in maths and chemistry, I could never crochet in those sessions. Chemistry especially was very fast paced, and maths I just had to constantly be writing down questions and equations and everything. So after my A levels, I took a gap year and I went on a plane to Zimbabwe trying to find myself. I was trying to find what career path would suit me as a person, because ever since I was little, I've always been so creative and I didn't want to throw that away to do a degree in something that doesn't come naturally to me. I know it's good to challenge yourself and to do degrees where, it's a bit hard, but you can learn to adapt to that situation. But for me, I just didn't feel like doing that. And to everyone's surprise, at the end of year 13, I applied to study mechanical engineering. So when I was researching different career paths, I was like, mechanical engineering seems like the one that I would go for the most, because it was creative, it was practical. The only issue is that it's very maths heavy, and I didn't like the mechanics section in maths because you have to do pure maths, mechanics, and statistics. I found pure maths okay, but mech and stats, oh my goodness, really bad. I did not enjoy that whatsoever. So yeah, everyone was shocked that I picked mechanical engineering, especially my older brother. He was just shocked, but I doubled down. I was like, no, I'm studying mechanical engineering, because deep down I knew that I needed to pick something. The thing about schools is that they force you to pick a uni course. They have to, because once you go through the entire schooling system, you have to now go on to university, and it's the job of the schools to help you and guide you and almost make you feel less of yourself if you don't pick a university degree. So I did end up choosing mechanical engineering. I was choosing between mechanical engineering, accounting and finance, or business. I know they're completely different, but honestly, I would not have studied business in university, because at home I have a lot of books that can teach me about business and a lot of videos online. It's one of those things that you just do. Like, you start a business and you start practicing practically instead of going through a whole theory based uni degree, if that makes sense. And that's also the same with a lot of creative university degrees like art and design and logo design, web design, graphic design. All of these things you can work on at home by yourself, because you don't really need to be taught how to be creative. Sometimes these things just come naturally, and there's no syllabus that's supposed to help you with coming up with designs and stuff, especially when it comes to fashion design as well. some of these things you can just learn on YouTube. You can learn the basics though, like for web design, you have to have a basic structure and then you can go crazy. You can add your own elements and your own things into it. Like art has rules, but once you have those ground rules down, you can go crazy, you can go really creative. So I didn't pick a creative uni degree because there was no need. I feel like it'd be such a waste of money as well. But university is very, very good for medicine, engineering, architecture, and all of these academic subjects. So that's why I picked engineering. And mechanical engineering has so many different branches as well. So I even wanted to go into developing prosthetics for patients that have lost limbs. I thought that would be good. But then I felt like I was going through a bit of an identity crisis. I was like, Aisha, do you really see yourself as an engineer, or do you just like saying that you're going to be studying engineering? And of course, I was kind of leaning to the saying that as an engineer because there's so much work that goes behind being an engineer. And I just wanted a degree where I feel comfortable in it, a degree where I could use my skills, and a degree where I could still be very, very creative. So in June of 2024, I got my A-level results and I actually got rejected from my firm and my insurance choice. So I had to apply to university through clearing, which wasn't too bad. I got into university, I got into my mechanical engineering course, and I just pictured myself doing engineering. I didn't really like it. And I was still in Zimbabwe as well. I was getting the advice of my brothers and my parents. And my parents have always told me, like, you don't have to go to university, but if you want to, then we'll support you, of course. But you don't have to. And they always saw me as someone who did my own thing, like selling things, creating courses, going into business, and that side of things. And they were actually really surprised I also picked mechanical engineering. At first, my dad did not like the idea, mainly because the industry was very male dominated and because he knew that I truly did not want to do that and I was making a big mistake. My mom was like 50-50 with mechanical engineering. She was like, it's a very good field to go into, but are you sure you want to go into that? And I had a lot of voices in my head stirring me in one direction and making me go into other directions as well. And I'm just trying to think, Aisha, what do you want to do with your life? You have these skills in sewing and crocheting and knitting and baking. Like, you are like that sibling that basically does everything except for sports. So why don't you try making a business around that? And once I planted that idea in my head, I was like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's almost like I had to do it now that I thought about it. So in Zimbabwe, I began to develop my skills in crocheting a lot further. I started making tutorials and I started making projects. And whenever I went to the yarn shops in Zim, I was just so fascinated with choosing the different types of yarn. And I love how they come in different materials and different textures and everything. So I know what to use for a particular project. I just enjoyed that whole aspect of picking yarn. And I remember talking to the cashier there. She was like, oh, you come here really often, because I always went once every week or once every 2 weeks or so, just to pick a lot of yarns for my projects. And then I was like, yes, I'm a YouTuber, I make a lot of crochet things. And she found that fascinating. And this woman behind me, she heard our conversation and then she subscribed to me right there. So I basically met one of my subscribers. But yeah, that was actually a really nice experience. One thing to get me talking a lot, and I'm naturally a kind of a shy, reserved person, but if you bring up crochet or what I like, I will be talking for hours. So In Zim, yeah, I learned a lot of crochet related things, and I'm still on my gap year as well. And I would crochet in front of my house as well, and then people passing by would be like, "Oh, what are you making? You're really talented." There's this time I made this crochet flower bouquet, and these women were like, "Oh, you're so talented. Did you make these yourself?" And I was like, "Yes." I was so happy. I literally ran into the house and told my older brother, I was like, "Oh, they said I was talented." But yeah, I was just focusing on trying to perfect my crochet skills. Okay, so here is a little bit of a progress check. I did stop recording for a while. As you can see, I started making the skirt part of my dress. Just ignore these little things that are stuck to the yarn. Let me just try and remove them. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. Let me give you guys another angle. So I kind of stopped recording because the whole process was really getting repetitive. So after I stitched together the top to fold in half like this, I began making a V stitch all the way down, and this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the skirt. I will film myself making this V stitch, but this is looking so pretty so far. I love this color. So far I have used one ball of yarn. This is my second, so I've used like 1.5, and 1.5 only makes like this much. It's a good thing that I bought so many. Hopefully I don't end up running out, because I really don't want to go and buy more yarn. That'd be so annoying. But there are a couple things I need to do before I continue crocheting. So I did make like a mental note to the fact that I need to increase so it can go over my back side properly, because I don't think this is going to be big enough, because I want it to be really loose and flowy. Like this I think it will be, but it'll just be like kind of tight in the back, and I do not want that to happen. So I'm gonna crochet a couple more rows with this V stitch, and then I'll get back to you guys when I actually start my increase rows. There's a bit of work going on next door if you can hear something in the background, but yeah, that's the plan. But we're going to just continue crocheting our V stitches like normal for now. Fast forward a couple of months, before I leave Zimbabwe. I was there for 6 months. I spoke to my grandpa, so he was like, okay, so what are you going to be doing after your gap year? And I've been telling everyone around me that I'm going to go and do mechanical engineering, just to, like, you know, calm their nerves. Because if I tell them I'm not going to university, actually I'm going to crochet, they'll be like, crochet? What do you mean crochet? Like, is that going to get you money? What is it? So I explained to my grandpa that I'm going to learn business and try and create a business around crochet. I do have an idea of what I'm going to be doing, guys, so I'll do another video on that. But he was like, you know, you're very artistic, you're very talented, but these things come easy to you. You should do a degree that challenges you. And I was like, yes, okay, I will, just to avoid like further discussion. But as of now, I'm nearing the end of my said gap year, so he's gonna be asking which universities I got into and everything. So yeah, soon everything will be revealed. Everything will be revealed. I'm going to quickly show you guys how I do this V stitch, and if the camera's not focusing, I actually apologize so much, because I recently started using a camera. I typically record on my phone, but I wanted to switch it up today, but I think right now it looks fine. Okay, so a V stitch is basically when you make a double crochet, chain one, and double crochet into the same stitch. So that's what I'm doing all the way along. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into my next stitch. It's not this stitch. The V stitch is when you go into the V shaped stitch, which is right here. So it literally looks like a V. So I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch and make a double crochet like so. Then I'm going to chain one and then put a double crochet inside the same hole, and that's what I've been doing for the skirt portion of this dress. It is kind of a long process, and it's going to be a lot longer when I put in my increases as well. I've really been thinking whether I should decrease after I do my increases so it fits like around my legs a lot better, but I'm thinking of just like continuing with the increased rounds, if that makes sense. So just to keep it wide and very full. But if I do that, I might need more yarn because I only bought 7, and I don't know, hopefully 7 will be enough because I've gone this far with like 1.5 balls of yarn, so I feel like it should be fine. And I'm so excited to see the finished project. I am so excited. I might be making so many different dresses and designing so many different dresses with this material. And another thing that I was thinking of is that I really need to start branching away from using acrylic yarn for such big projects. Mainly because this is not as flowy as I would have wanted it. Like for a nice layered ruffled dress, I would love it to be very flowy. I don't know if I can get away with it with this acrylic yarn, we'll see, but right now it's looking like very soft and a little bit stiff, so I'm gonna see if I can find a way around that. But oh my gosh guys, yarn is so expensive, which is like so annoying sometimes. But yeah, I'll look for more websites and more places to buy good quality yarn for a much affordable price, because I don't want to constantly have these crochet projects which literally drain my bank account. So yeah, but we should be okay with this acrylic yarn. But I really want to use different textures and stuff, especially coming into summer and spring. I want to make more pieces that I can wear outside without getting too hot. Alright guys, I'm going to continue doing this and I'm going to get back to you guys when I do my ruffle section, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. I'm so excited. I'm literally winging the entire ruffle section. I'm just going to do something that I think is going to work. I really don't like following tutorials whatsoever. So yeah, we're going to see and we're going to experiment in a couple hours or so, because I still have a long way to go before I make my first ruffle. Good morning guys, it's like 9:45 in the morning, and here is a little update slash progress check. So this is what it's looking like so far, and I think it's looking so good. I'm on my 3rd ball of yarn, and the only issue is I might have to go and buy more yarn. I'm literally looking at the ones I have left and I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be enough, because I used 3 and this is like the perfect length for like a little like summer top. But I don't want it to be a summer top, I want it to be like a really long flowy maxi dress. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go and buy more, but I will cross that bridge when I get to it. So I'm going to do a couple more rows of these beautiful V-stitches, and then referring back to my drawing, I'm going to add the first ruffle section over here, and then crochet until I reach my other ruffle section. So that's going to be taking me a couple hours. So what I'm going to do now is just respond to my older brother. He messaged me, so I told him I'll reply very soon, so I need to reply to that message, and then I'm gonna lock in for like the next couple hours or so, and then hopefully I'll be at the stage where I add my ruffle, because I'm so excited to show you guys the technique and how I actually made the ruffle. And every single day I get so in love with this shade of red. It's so pretty, I love it. And my grandma was also asking me like, what career are you going into? And I told her mechanical engineering, of course. And she said that, oh, that's very male dominated. It used to be just women. You're gonna do so well. And I was like, yes. But my grandma on my dad's side knows I'm not going to go to university. For some reason, it's a lot easier to tell her. I had my brother translate though, because I can't really speak my language. So she said that said it's a good idea basically, and that while I'm doing this I should get a job, which is not a bad idea at all. I will start job hunting honestly, just so I can make a bit of money on the side while I'm trying to grow this entire business. But me and job hunting, that is a whole other story. Oh my goodness, I'm very picky when it comes to jobs. Like I've applied to jobs and I've got an offer, but I've always turned it down because I'm like, no, it's just like too long or time consuming or something that I just don't want to do. So yeah, I'll get back into job hunting soon. So then the reactions of my friends, so they were so confused. I have this friend, we're really close, we've known each other for like 5 years now, and when I told her that I applied to mechanical engineering, she was just thinking, why would you do that? Like, if that's something you want to do, then do it, but I didn't expect that from you. And I was like, oh, really? It's like everyone around me was telling me who I was before I even saw it, because I could kind of see myself doing mechanical engineering, but it's like everyone around me was like, what? Absolutely not. I don't see you doing mechanical engineering. You know you want you know you don't want to do mechanical engineering as well. So yeah, so she was shocked, but she was obviously very supportive. She's like, if you want to do it, then do it. And when we got our offers to university, she was like, yay, you got into the course. And yeah, it was a very, I didn't really care that I got an offer to do mechanical engineering, honestly. I was like, oh, fair enough. Um, but yeah, let's now talk about me as a person. So, as I was alluding to before, I've always grown up doing something creative. Like, me and my brothers are very different. So my oldest brother, he's like, the typical smart person. He has a high IQ. He got into Mensa. He got good grades in his A levels and his GCSEs. He's now on to do a PhD at only 20. He's 21 now. 22? Yeah, 22 years old. He's doing his PhD and he's traveling the world, doing astrophysics. And then we have my second brother. He's more so creative as well. He's did good in his GCSEs and A levels, and he's doing architecture. And then there's me, who is smart, but like, not crazy, crazy smart. Like, I actually did the best in my GCSEs compared to my siblings. But when it came to A levels, I'm the only one who did 3 A levels. My other brothers did BTECs, so it's more coursework based subjects. So I don't really have anyone to compare to with my A levels. But I've always been that type that just loves making things. Like, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was making slime and making dolls' clothes. I used to love sewing, and I used to do stop motion animation as well. And nowadays, I lean more towards crocheting and sewing and everything. But in the loom band era, I was making so many loom bands, and I tried making such creative patterns and designs. Sometimes I would make my own designs even. And when I was like 10, 11, 12, I'd make my own clothes, like go out and pick fabric and everything. And I wanted to make a career out of that, but I didn't really see how that would even be possible. I was like, that would be the most ideal career ever, where I just sit and make things and show people the world, show people the things that I create in this world. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I've been talking for so long. But yeah, I wanted to just share my art with everyone. So when I learned how versatile crochet was, and I started watching more crochet YouTube channels and crochet TikTok pages and everything, I was like, this is my calling. I feel like this is what I need to do, because I feel like God placed this skill in me for a reason. He placed this creativity in me for a reason, and I feel like this is the reason, to teach people, to sell things, and to just show people and encourage people to create and not always buy. So that's one of the main reasons why I decided to do this. And I also wanted to do something that comes easy to me. I know that sounds like I'm like a very lazy person, I don't like taking risks and everything, but just because something comes easy to you doesn't mean you don't have challenges along the way. Because as a creative person, we suffer through creative ruts, we go through like mental blocks, you don't feel like creating anything, you're constantly keeping up with new trends and learning new skills. And yeah, it's just a lot, and I don't think people understand that. But when you're just crocheting, people are like, oh, you make it look so easy, but they don't realize the things that we've had to do behind the scenes to get to the point where we crochet seamlessly, or we make things seamlessly, if that makes sense. So for those people that are saying, oh, making a crochet business is not challenging, I don't think they know what they're talking about specifically, because crocheting is one thing, but making a business around your passion is another thing. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to, turn my passion into a full on career, and I'll make another video on how I'm going to do that. But I have the vision in my head. It's just going to take me a while to execute. So I think on the outside and when people are looking in, I just look like someone who just sits at home, crochets all day, which technically I do. But that's not everything. That's not everything that I do. So yeah, it's hard to explain to certain people. That's why I just say I make videos. It's a lot easier for me to say that because I do make videos. But yeah, um guys, I'm actually so tired right now. I've been crocheting for so long. I'm gonna take a break soon for like an hour or so just to do something with my little brother. So I just wanted to come on here and say I have made my V-stitches in the front loops only. So over here I just have the back loops left, as you can see. Then I'm going to be making my V-stitches in these back loops, but I'm going to chain one and fasten off first and then reattach my yarn in the same position so I can end the same way as I was all the way around before I started making this first ruffle. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that and then make V-stitches in these back loops. I'm literally winging this whole process. I just felt like this is the best way to get it done. But yeah, it's looking good so far. I'm really happy with how it's turning out, and I tried it on as well. I can't really show you guys because it's really short, so you guys will see the finished product when I wear it. And also something so exciting happened. Hold on. Okay, so if you go on to Hobbycraft, guys, if you're from the UK, you know what Hobbycraft is. It's like the top craft shop here. So you go onto their page and then you swipe across and go to their reposts. They have reposted my video. I was yarn shopping in Hobbycraft to buy the materials for this project, and then they reposted it. See? Hobbycraft reposted the video. I don't know what's up with my camera. It's not focusing really. Hold on. I'm just making sure that you guys can see it. Look, Hobbycraft, they reposted my video. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was really exciting. Anyways, let's get back into crocheting. Because there's so many things that you can do once you start making videos about your passions. You could get brand deals, collaborations, you can meet new people, you can potentially travel, and those are the aspects of university that I thought that I would miss out on in terms of making friends from like diverse friendship groups and learning about different cultures and everything from your friends, and traveling and just experiencing that uni life with people. And that is one thing that sometimes I just think about. I do have friends and I do think these friends will last, and I see them from time to time, but getting to know new people, I actually really enjoy that. So that's one aspect that I'm kind of missing out on, but I don't really think about it that much because I'm very much a person that loves staying home. So if I was like a crazy social person, then I feel like maybe I would go to university just for that social aspect. But I feel like even when I do this online thing, I could make like friends with like-minded people, like crocheters from around the world, and get to talk to them and build a community and share ideas and stuff with them. I think that would be an opportunity that would open up later on down the line. So after I kind of got into crochet, I uploaded my first crochet video. It actually did quite well for my first crochet video, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is where we're gonna keep making videos and try different video recording styles and everything, just to make my mark in the category of crochet on social media. So yeah, everything that I'm doing right now, I am learning and practicing, and I am learning new things every single day. But one problem is, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. So I was crocheting this maxi dress, but it took me a while to even get to the point where I was crocheting the maxi dress because I was in a really, really terrible crochet rut. Like, I couldn't think at all. I didn't know what to make, I didn't know what to design, and I honestly just thought of like giving up. I was literally going to apply to university that day. I'm not even joking. I was like, you know what, this is not it. But my friend was like, you know, just because you don't just because you haven't got any ideas doesn't mean you don't like the thing anymore, you know. Sometimes you should take a break and let your mind refresh, and then you'll get back to it. And that's when I had the idea of making this maxi dress. So that's very good, that I didn't just run to university. I feel like I'm using university as my safe option because it is risky. It is risky to not go and not pursue higher education. But the more you look at it, the more you realize that university is not everything, you know? Unless you want to be a doctor and a dentist and an engineer, then of course uni is necessary. But like sometimes for average people, we don't even need it really. We could get a job, we could work on our passions, we could create content, we could do all of these things. There's more to life than university, and that's what I'm trying to explain to my grandpa, because I feel like he thinks I'm going to fail at life completely if I don't go to university. But I don't know, there's always a possibility that you'll fail, you know. But at least I tried this, and I tried to turn my passion into something a lot more meaningful and a lot more beneficial to people around me. I have so many ideas of how I could also make money. I want to make online courses, I want to sell custom products, I want to teach people, I want to build a community of like-minded people where we can discuss crochet and get more people into crochet, because it's so versatile. And I feel like a lot of people don't really understand this art. They don't really know the intricacies behind this art, and I think a lot of people would really benefit from making their own things. Like for me, it's actually really relaxing, unless I have a video that I have to record. Then it's not really that relaxing. Oh my gosh, I have to, you know, speed crochet so I can get this video out on time. But if you're just doing it as a hobby and not necessarily creating content, it's very relaxing. It's very chill. You focus, you can clear your mind because you're counting stitches, and it's just a really nice hobby to have. My brother came over the other day for Eid, and I made him a jumper, and he's like looking through my other crochet things that I've made, and he said that he wants to learn how to crochet, so I could teach him how to do that, because I think it's just such a valuable skill. Maybe I'm a bit biased because I've been doing it for a little while now, but yeah, I just think it's very important to learn how to do that, and it's very important to make your own things as well, especially with the cost of clothing these days. Oh my gosh, you might as well make it yourself. This is definitely one of the most important decisions that I have made in my entire life. My older brother thinks I'm going to regret not going to university, but I literally said to him, why would I regret not studying a degree that I don't want to do and then end up working in a field that I don't want to work in? Why would I regret that? I literally told him, I was like, if crochet was a degree, I would be doing a PhD right now at 19 years old, literally. But they don't have that, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't think I'll regret it. But sometimes I do have these thoughts in my mind, like, you know, maybe I should get a degree, you know, just to secure a job in the future if I decide not to crochet anymore. But I can't see myself not deciding to crochet anymore. It's almost like deciding that you don't want to be who you are anymore. I've been doing this since I was little, not necessarily crochet, but just creating things. So if I was doing this, holding knitting needles at the age of 3, and why would I just suddenly give that up or suddenly not want to do that anymore? It's literally all I've ever known. It's always been ingrained into me. So it's almost like trying to get rid of a part of me, which I don't think would happen. Maybe taking breaks along the way, 100%, not knowing what to do at times, definitely. Feeling like you don't want to do it anymore because of how often you do it, yes, but then I'd always come back to it because it's literally who I am, it's me. So I don't think I'll regret it in that sense, but like I was mentioning before, I might regret it in the sense of not making friends and, going out and everything. But I can always do that later on in life, or even now. Like, I was talking about networking and everything, and I do see my friends often. So it's not that bad. It's not like I'm in prison. It's not like I'm in my house, it's crocheting 24/7. But yeah, I do get where he's coming from. And a lot of the family members that said I should go to university, I feel like sometimes some of the family members who have been encouraging me to go to university, I know that it comes from a good place. They want me to secure that degree, secure that good job, so I can work in the future. I don't think they're being malicious telling me not to crochet, because it is an odd thing to give up. It's an odd thing to not go to university for. Like, I've never even heard that before. Like, I didn't go to university because I wanted to crochet. They're probably thinking, what is going on here? But obviously we live in different times. Like, I live in a very different time compared to my grandparents. Like, when they grew up, there was no social media, there was not an opportunity to start anything online. But now that the internet is here, we have so many opportunities to take charge of your passions and everything. It will be very hard for them to understand it. I do try and explain to them, but if they don't get it, they don't get it. They'll see my success one day. And I was even thinking to myself, if this crochet thing doesn't work, then I can start something else. I have so many different business ideas that are running through my head, but this is the one that I want to focus on for the next couple of years and just try and build something out of it. Yeah, it's a very, very big risk. If it doesn't work out, I honestly won't even be embarrassed. I'll be like, I took that opportunity, I took this chance, and I worked on it for a couple years because I really believed in it, and it didn't work out, so let's move on to the next thing. You can't really live your life with so much regret and so many what ifs, like, oh, what if I didn't do this, what if I didn't do that, what if I went to university, all of this. That just causes so much unnecessary stress. And I will make this work out. That's the thing. I don't know what stage I would have to be at to give up this process. We'll see down the line, but right now I'm just focusing on building my social media pages, sharing my art, building my community, and everything like that. So anything worth having always takes a very long time, maybe a couple years. Like, whenever you see these stories with these businessmen, they're like, oh, I've been working my garage for like 10 years and then I saw my first dollar in my bank account, stuff like that. It requires a lot of sacrifice and a lot of self-belief. And at this point, sometimes it's not even just crochet. I need to learn how to go into business, how to create online courses, how to tell stories a lot better. And yeah, and also part of me was thinking, do I believe in myself because other people believe in me? Like, I don't know if I believe in myself because I just do, but a lot of people around me have spoken about how talented I am, and I've had a couple orders, crochet orders in school as well, from lunch ladies. There's a whole other video about that, which I will link in the eye. But I don't know, like, do I just thrive off of people's compliments of the work that I do? And I don't know if I'll be in this position if people didn't really talk about my art in a positive way. I need to really revisit that, because I don't know, when people don't really comment on the things that I make, I need to comment on the things that I make. I need to hype myself up. I need to tell myself that we can do this. I need to tell myself that this does not look ugly or whatever. I just need to be my biggest cheerleader instead of thriving off of other people's opinions. It is nice that people comment on it, and it does, it makes you happy. Like, oh, you spent hours making this and someone actually likes it. Like, that's really nice. But if you don't have that, you need to have that within yourself, and I think that's something I need to work on. And a couple days after I made the decision not to go to university, I was feeling a bit weird. Obviously, I was feeling a bit different. I felt like a big anomaly in the world. Like, the school system is supposed to make you go to university, and it kind of pushed me away to do my own thing. And I saw this quote by Steve Jobs. He was like, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forwards. And while some may see them as crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who think they're crazy enough to change the world are the ones who do. And when I read this, I was like, oh, it resonated with me so much, um, in terms of how I want to change the face of crochet. I want to turn it into something that could be another art within itself. Like, it bases off crochet, but then it spreads into other things. Like, maybe I could even incorporate it into medicine somehow. You know, the mesh tubes that you can put in your veins. I don't know, it's veins, capillaries, or something, to make them wider. It's like a stent to make them wider so blood can pass through properly. Imagine that being crocheted with certain materials and stuff. I just want to use this art that's been around for so long to change the world, And this is where engineering could also come in. But I don't need an engineering degree to do it. I can speak to an engineer about my design, and then we can make it come to life. The part where he says they're not fond of rules, it just screams me dropping out of university to do something else. And yeah, I can't really explain this, but it does resonate with me a lot. And sometimes when I'm feeling down, I just look at that quote again. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. I really do believe that this will work out, but I also need to realize that it will happen in its own time. I can't force things to happen that are not meant to happen just yet. I do have a lot of foundations to build first and foremost, and a lot of things to implement into this, and growth on social media does take a very long time as well. So yeah, but at least we started. At least we're on the path to doing something that I want to do. We're on the path to doing something that I enjoy. I would hate to live a life where I just hate waking up in the morning on a Monday morning, going into work and socializing with people that I dislike. Yeah, I just would not really enjoy that at all, and I think many people don't enjoy that either, but we just don't know the way out. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. It is a really long one. If you have any questions, please link them in the comment section below. You can ask me anything about this topic. And yeah, my crochet dress is finished. Let me know what you guys think about it as well. And as always, I will see you in the next one.